Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. I am in Eswatini and in a suburb called Ezulwini. Now, today I am speaking to a friend of mine who I've known for many years. Her name is Dara, but she'll introduce herself later on. But just to let you know how I know Dara is because, as most of you know, I live in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, but at the moment I'm traveling the world with my husband. And when my son was 1 year old, I joined a dance group that was performing at a club called the Boom Boom Room. And Dara and I will talk later about what was unique about the Boom Boom Room club. But I auditioned for this club, and that's where I worked, because most of you also know that I used to be a dancer. Well, sometimes I still am. If the budget is good enough, I'm still a dancer. Okay, so over to you, Dara. Can you please introduce yourself to everybody and give us a backstory about you, and just go ahead, feel free.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody around the world. I understand that this is going to be shown all over the world on demand or whatever. Of course, I would like to thank Celeste for having asked me to do this, and of course, knowing Celeste as long as it's quite a long time that we have known each other, that I said, yeah, of course, sure, why not? I feel comfortable with her, talking to her, and so that's why I'm here. Okay, basically, like what Celeste had mentioned earlier, we met I think some 30 years ago, yeah, some 30 years ago, when we were all a group of dancers and performers in the club called Boom Boom Room in Kuala Lumpur. Of course, back then in Kuala Lumpur, we do have big clubs where they have performances, and I mean, it was fortunately more fun than now. Than now, seriously. Anyway, so that's how I know Celeste, and we have been in touch. Luckily for the social media, we now are even more in touch, even though we don't speak to each other a lot. But when she posts things, I comment,
I see your
like.
cat.
But oh, you have seen my cats, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
See, that's what I mean. Like she knows that I have cats and things like that, and I love posting about them. So that's how I think we got to know more personally lately. I mean, like through social media. I mean, even though we were in a group before, yeah, we know each other. But I mean, I'm not the kind of person who would ask people about whatever. But we were good friends. I mean, we were good, like we were close, we were good, and then that's how we maintain our relationship, as friends. Yes, of course, I'm still staying in Kuala Lumpur, uh, and I am now doing investment consultant. So my performance days are not to say long gone. I mean, when there are needs or people ask me to come and just do an MC or whatever, then I'll be like, okay, sure, why not? But my main focus for living for income is as a investment consultant, which I'm quite very happy to be in. Yes.
Okay, great. So now let's get into Boom Boom Room. So let's tell the audience what Boom Boom Room was. I'll start. Okay, Boom Boom Room was a club where it featured trans people and gay people. That was the main cast in the show, and with a few of us who were straight. So, and sometimes in the show, I was actually the only straight person in the show. I don't know if you remember.
Yes. And I think so,
you remember, right? Yeah. And what happened is that to this day, many people think that I'm transgender.
Transgender,
Which I'm
yeah.
okay with because I perform, even before I came to Malaysia, I used to perform as a transgender person because I just could earn more money. And then even after leaving Boom Boom Room, I just used to continue performing as a trans person because
impersonator, right? Like
no, not even impersonator. People just used to think I'm trans. So I would just say, yeah, they would say, oh, are you a diva? And when I was working for Moving KL, and I would say, yeah, because it's too much bother to explain, you know, like let it's okay, it's a performance, it's okay, let them,
those casual questions doesn't need detailed answers.
And it was fine because then I could also earn more money. Because I would say to the agent, you know, I'm a trans person, you know, blah blah blah, I'm more special, whatever, you know, because we performers, we know how to talk. So Dara, I want you to just explain your journey and I mean what you are, who you are, and your journey to where you are now.
Okay, so probably we shall start from the moment I transition. You know, I mean, like I can just go very, very quickly the few years before I transition. You know, but then I'll start with the part where the point where I did. Okay, I mean, of course, I mean, in case the audience don't know.
No, they don't know. So I think you need to start before you were younger, how you felt. So, did you feel wrong? Did you feel okay? You know, this kind of thing.
Okay, so for the audience, I was not born. I mean, I may look like this, like feminine, effeminate, or like a woman. I was not born a woman. I was born male. Went through the normal, the childhood, teenage years, and university years, all as male. Yeah. But of course, when I was in my later teens, I became a bit more bolder because that's when I think a lot of people like 18, 19, 20 are looking for their identity and what they are. You know, I mean, and they would begin to become a bit more, what do you call that, safe, you know, at that age, yeah. So I think at that age, the later teen years was the years that I became more brave, and I started to acknowledge the fact that I'm not a typical boy. I don't think I will ever turn out to be a man. You know, I mean, of course, that feeling has always been happy. I always had it, you know, but it was never spoken because you are in like let's say when you are 10, 11, 12, you know, you don't talk about this kind of thing. You just think about it, but you don't talk. But then when I got to be later in my teens, especially with a lot more people that I know that are similar, we have similar outlook, you know, so we became braver, and that's when I started to kind of like dress up androgynously, you know, because for that matter, it was also around the period where Boy George first came out, so it was like in the early 80s where you can play with that androgyny and then, you know, get satisfaction from being able to do it, you know, like the being androgynous, you know. So that went on even in college, the androgyny kind of like thing, you know. But of course, deep down in my heart, I always know that I want to be a woman. I want to not be a man. I don't even want to be androgynous. I don't want to be gay. I don't want to be whatever. I just want to be a woman, gender-wise, you know. Of course, then coming back from after graduation and things like that, university and whatever, you know, started work, you know, so slowly but surely coming back to KL, and then instead of like before, I only have friends, but after I came back from the US, you know, I got to know that Malaysia at that time was a bit more open than before I left, So I started to know other people that are fringe, on the fringe. I would call them people on the fringe, So that's when I got to have uh, uh, get more knowledge about what if I want to transition, what do I need to do, where can I do it, how much would it be, and mind you, this was in the late 80s, which we didn't have Google, so it was so it was very it was tedious. It was not difficult, but it was tedious to get all this information, So to cut the story short, after a few years dabbling into that, not dabbling, like getting into that, like slowly transition, physically, of course, mentally, I always know what I was, so it was just the physical part, so physical part, slowly getting the breast job, letting your hair grow, take some on hormones and things like that. Then finally, in the year 2000, with enough money saved, I did it. I did a reassignment surgery, and ever since then, it was. I mean, since after the surgery, then only I feel fulfilled. Like it was like I'm complete. I mean, I'm a whole person now. But of course, just backtrack a little bit. During boom boom time, I haven't transitioned yet, but I must say it was the best years, formative year for a transgender to have before like a real final decision to transition. So in a way, if like children went to kindergarten for their formative years, my journey to transition to be a woman, to look, behave, and think, and not think, look and behave like a woman, a passable woman in the society, was boom boom boom. So instead of just fun and drinking and partying and dancing, performing, it was also formative. It molds me to be the gender woman that I am.
So it was kind of educational as well.
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah. Because in that show, just to give the audience a perspective, of course, there was like, you had the male dancers, and I think 100% of them were gay. I don't remember any straight dancer. And
there
then
was no straight.
And then there was the group that were called the divas. Divas means the trans group.
Yeah.
And you're more or the same number as the guys?
Pardon?
The diva group, your group, were you all about the same number as the guys, right?
When it first started, of course, like I was the first batch. We had I think 10 cast, 10 members. So there was like the host, and then there were like
the host was a straight woman.
Straight woman, and then we had like the 3 boys. The 3 dancers.
3 dancers, and they were all gay.
They were gay, and then we have the 3 girls. They were straight.
Biological women, right?
Yeah, biological women. And then there were 2 of us, myself and another transgender. So there were 9 original cast. So it was a mixed group, and it was very revolutionary because like before boom boom, this kind of like shows have already been done, like in a smaller scale,
but not on this big.
But of course somebody in Malaysia had the money and the courage, the guts to make it mainstream, so that's how the Boom Boom KL was born. Of course, the concept was borrowed from the success of the Boom Boom Room in Singapore.
That's right.
So it is kind of like a KL version of Singapore Boom Boom Room, you know.
Right.
So that's how it started, you know. But and 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 it was, like I said, revolutionary, because at that time, I still remember, before Boom Boom Room, if you were to go to a dance club, you know, there were, like, number one, the rule, of course, you have the rules of clothing. You have to wear, like, shoes, and guys have to wear shirt, and then women have to whatever, you know. But then Boom Boom Room was the first club in KL, and I can say in Malaysia, that threw away all those rules and regulation. We see boys, men, guys, regardless whether they're gay or whatever, they would come in with jeans and tank top, singlet, you know.
Yes.
And of course, yeah, and then girls would just be all out fashionable, you know. And one very, very distinct feature of Boom Boom Room was that you can, two boys or two women can dance with each other, and you can also dance in a group. You know, I mean, that is like very different from the clubs in Kuala Lumpur at that time, because, like, I remember, just like before Boom Boom Room opened, like a year before that, I went to another club, you know, and then the moment, like, these two friends, you know, just like went to the dance for two guy friends. I mean, they were not lovers, they were just like young,
just dancing,
young boys. Yeah, they went to the floor and they started dancing, and then sure enough, the bouncer came and asked them to not dance, and it was, I can still remember the image, and they were like, why can we dance together, you know?
Right.
It's just dancing, you know. So Boom Boom Room was revolutionary in that sense, because there was no
restrictions.
No restriction. Exactly.
You could just express. You could just express yourself.
Express yourself, like Madonna says, you know. So
yes.
So that was Boom Boom Room. So I guess that's why I will say it again, that it was a very good training ground for me to develop the character and the mentality, if I were to, like, go over, I mean, if I were to, like, change.
Right.
You know,
right.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, because even so for me as a straight person, like at Boom Boom Room, even what I learned there was, because all my life, people had this wrong perception of who or what I am. I mean, even at university, I used to always think I'm a lesbian, or I'm a boy. You know, like when I was at school, like I'm a boy, not a girl. And even in the dance company, the youth company, I always get the roles of the boys. Like I was the Mad Hatter, you know, which is normally, that's a boy's role. And and I was very androgynous. And then there was also the problem that because I looked like I looked, I always had girls hitting on me because they thought I was gay, but I was not. No, I'm straight. Then I got married. And then even while I was married, I was confused because people in Malaysia especially kept thinking that I was trans. And so I used to fight that, you know, and I used to get angry until I went to Boom Boom Room and I met all of you.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, this is where I belong, because here you are what you are. As long as you know who you are, it doesn't matter what other people think about you or how they accept you. You must be strong in who you are.
Yeah, there were no boxes.
No, you just
especially for the Boom Boom. Yeah, very fluid. No boxes for the cast, and definitely, I think the vibes from the cast. The audience get the vibe from the cast, so that you can also see audience letting loose. You know, not like letting loose until you become a nuisance. You know, I mean, they just like relax. You know, what is this? Zoom meeting has been upgraded. Okay, so they just become relaxed. I mean, like, which is very it was very nice feeling to see people relax.
It was free, liberating.
Yeah, free and totally relaxed, being enjoying themselves and enjoying the company of other people.
Yes.
Enjoying the environment, they're not uptight, they just relax, I mean, there was like no imposition, you just be yourself,
No
I mean, of course,
judgment.
yeah, no judgment,
Yeah.
those were very nice times, it's not, it doesn't happen anymore here.
No,
actually.
no. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now that is a good segue into the next section. It doesn't happen
Mm.
anymore. Because you would think that was in the 90s, okay? Early 90s, this time we're talking about,
Yeah.
where everyone was just free to be whatever and whoever they wanted to be. We are now in
Yeah.
2021, and suddenly we are being put into boxes because what I want to discuss with you today is, because now there's things that are now suddenly that we have always accepted as fact, whether it's biological or psychological or science or whatever. There's things now that are fact, but can be considered hurtful, maybe hateful, when it's maybe none of the three or one of the three or two. You understand what I'm saying there? So I'll give you an example. Because I'm on Twitter doing all my campaign work in the way I do it. The long story, I won't get into it, but I have a way of doing it. And people get very offended with me, for saying things like, "Oh, my trans women friends are biological males," because that is the truth. Every trans woman friend that I have is a biological male, and so I get told I am hateful, I'm a TERF, I'm transphobic. When I mean, it's a fact, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a fact,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
okay, yeah, just expand on that.
Okay, it is like okay. I guess the people basically just have to be secured with themselves. I feel, because anything that is being said about a person is just labeling for me. I'm with you as the matter of fact kind of thing. I mean, like of course, gender wise now, I am a woman, but not female. Those are different things. I identify, my gender identity is of a woman. But then of course, I cannot be going around and says that you have to treat me like I'm a female.
Okay.
But then, but then that's when people, I mean, not people who are not thinkable, not critical thinkers, they just refuse to accept the fact that, okay, I'm fine if you don't want to treat me as a female, but then treat me as a woman, because that's my gender, that's my identity.
Right.
But of course, in the world that I live, in the country that I live, that's impossible. But then of course, I think it is not only here. I mean, if you find conservative people around the world in other parts of the country and other world, they will have that kind of issues too. In fact, I think I saw some comments of like transgender, like masculine looking transgender, I mean, he was like demanding for people to, or she was demanding for people to call him a female. I mean, like, and people were like making fun of him, her, and things like that. So it got really, I mean, in that video, it got really quite violent, But then on the other hand, for me, I don't know. For me, I guess you have to also think of other people too. you know, I mean, like if you want people to accept you, you have to accept people, you know, and then don't, I mean, for me, I don't confront. If the person refuse to do or say that will please you, then you just say, okay, that's it, you know, like I cannot change you, I'll avoid you, kind of thing, you know, because there are if there are like that, if there's one person like that, there are 9 other person that are not like that, you know. So why become confrontational in that sense, you know? So I mean, so that's how I mean, the gist of myself is that, like, I not say I respect, I accept the fact that there are people who will be like that, you know, who will make an issue about you saying that, oh, my transgender friends are basically biologically male, you know. Then they'll be like you said, you know, I mean, but then those are the kind of people I think we will try at best to let them know what we meant, and let them hopefully see what we meant, you know?
Yes.
But if they don't, then
just
then I mean, that's it, you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. It's just like, because I this is my work, you know, I wish I could just walk away from it. But you know, interesting that you said conservative people. I actually find it's more the progressive people, because you know, like example, they're so progressive that they do not understand that there is a difference between you and I, like between a trans woman and a woman. As far as they're concerned, there is zero difference. And and by me saying the difference is between my trans woman friends and myself, is that my trans friend is a biological male and I am a biological female, you know? So that is where the problem lies. You know what I mean? It's that they're trying to be so progressive, so woke, that they want to deny. And then they would say, example, let's say if it was you and I, they would say, I am denying your existence by not saying that you are exactly like me. Whereas for me, it also means if I don't see that I'm different from you, then I am denying my existence as well. You know what I mean?
So that's what I meant also.
Yes.
Like,
I
you
guess
just have to accept the fact, you know, that there will be differences in this world.
Because even woman to woman is different.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, Celeste, I mean, you know, I mean, I also kind of like put it in the situation in the society, you know. For example, I mean, like what I meant is socially, and then there is also the fact that it's education, for example.
Exactly.
And then there's also the part where medical, you know, I mean, yeah. So in this different situation, then the context will have to be applied, you know. Probably, I mean, in a social circle, of course, I'm
we
sure
just women.
we
just women.
Yeah, you know, women, you know,
we women. Yeah, you and I,
women, you know, and then education wise, then for the purpose of education, then you have to mention that yes, women in gender, but not female in the physical, whatever. And then of course, then of course the more strict environment that we can talk about will be medical.
Yes, you know, exactly, where you have to be right? You have to, because your life could depend on it.
Yes, you know.
Okay.
So I guess we have to look at that kind of like situation in the society, in the environment, to apply the right terms, you know. So let's say, so for example, if we have one person who's very adamant to keep to the mentality of medical, and then suddenly you give us, then that person give a speech in an annual dinner, and then then refuse to use the pronouns of he or she,
right,
you know, I mean, depending on trans man or trans woman, no,
right,
insist that, oh, I will not call him, her, because whatever, you know. So
right,
so
yeah.
that means that person is socially inept, you know, you know, because he's not a doctor, he's not in the medical situation, he's not in the whatever, you know. So you're in a social situation, then you acknowledge and accept the outlook, the external appearance of that person,
right.
you know.
That's
You know
very
what I
well
mean?
said. You know, I've never,
Hmm.
I mean, I've thought about it, but I've never thought about it as eloquently as you said, like putting it in those three categories where there's the social,
Yeah,
and then there's the
education
educational and the medical. Yeah,
and
and since because
the
I'm always in the
medical.
educational, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, but you know me, socially, I don't care.
yeah,
No, because you know we are performers. Everyone, as long as we're all having a good time,
yeah.
she, her, him, we're there. Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Mm.
that's very. Oh, that's. You see how I can learn things, huh? Even at my old age.
But I guess I did start that conversation about the three groups, the three different situations, because like I mean you have asked me to relate the
Yes.
experience, all
Yes.
right,
Yes.
you know. So I mean when you want me to relate later, you just let me know, you
Which
know,
part?
just
Yeah. That's yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the next one. So the other thing that's always an issue is this one. Now, I mean, I've spoken to many psychologists, so I know what the answer is, because now we're talking about medical. Okay.
Mm,
So this is what it says. Trans people suffer from gender dysphoria, which is a mental condition and not a physical condition, right? Which is like, because I have friends who are, they used to call them intersex, but that's like a bad word now. You don't say that. You say that they have disorder of sex development. Now, those people have, their issue is biological. It's not mental. So is it correct that your condition falls under a mental condition because it's a dysphoria? Is that
yes.
correct? So that is
Yes.
correct. Okay. So
I would agree. I would agree with that definition. Okay. And again, this definition, I realize if it is being mentioned in a social environment, it is it will be seen or perceived as bad.
Right.
Okay. But if it is mentioned in a medical situation, then it is not. It's a matter of fact. That's the right word for it. Dysphoria, dysfunction, and you know what those kind of words. I mean, you know, disorder. You know, mental. The word mental. You know, but then of course, because we don't have enough educated, medically educated people in the social setting, that when they hear, oh, transgender is someone who is suffering from mental dysphoria, you know, mental condition, then they be like, oh, that means they are crazy. You know, that means they are lunatics. There's something wrong with them mentally. You know, they should be put in asylum. They should be given medication. They should be given treatment. You know, so that is when that is why a lot of misinterpretation and misconception of people, you know, I mean of transgender, and I haven't seen any of the medical profession try to make it in try to make the social situation people understand that it is not a bad thing. You know, I mean nobody have ever said that gender dysphoria is a bad thing. It is just one of the thing in medical term,
it's just another
you know?
condition. It's, it's like me. I have BDD, which is body dysmorphic disorder. And I have friends who have anorexia nervosa. These are all disorders. It's just a spectrum of this. It doesn't mean you are crazy. It just means it's a,
it's just a disorder of your natural body. You know,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
if it's not a bad thing, it may be treatable
Yeah.
physically,
It
or
can be
it but
controlled.
or yeah, or it may just need understanding and whatever, you know. So medically, these are the things that is so usual, normal for the medical people to be speaking of. But then when
Right.
it cross over, when the terms cross over to the society, then
Yeah.
it became like, oh my God, you know, we cannot accept. We must have like, we must have people without disorder in our
Right.
society,
Yes.
you know. And it's like, are you serious? You know, I mean, are you serious that you want to have perfect people in the society? You know, nobody is perfect.
No.
You know, I mean, there's no one that is perfect in the society. There must be some kinks. You know, even
Yes.
the word kinks would relate to something negative, but it's not. It's
But it's
just your
not.
quirks. You know,
Yeah.
your quirks. You are just different. Nobody is the same.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Look
that
at.
is what
Yeah. So
that is what I think.
look at
Yeah.
Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, and he has some type of autism. I don't know if it's Asperger's. I mean, he also has some type of disorder, but it's fine. Yeah,
But
I like
because
it.
because I think because the society want, I mean, it boils down to whether the society wants to accept it or not, you know. You know, I mean, or how much resistance the society is having, contributed by indoctrinations and whatsoever lah, you know.
Right, right.
Because if the authority does not do indoctrination, does not do psychological play, you know, and let the society think for themselves and then evaluate for themselves, then you know, it won't be an issue, you know. I mean, like I guess for like Elon Musk thing, you know, like whether he has Asperger or ADHD or whatever, you know, it has been conveyed by the medical people, by the medical society to the normal people society, that it is not something that is shocking. It is not
Right.
something that you should fear or you should gossip about or you should be making an issue of. You
Yeah,
know,
stigmatized.
yeah, you know, stigmatized, exactly. You know, but then unfortunately, when it comes to transgenderism, it is still stigmatized. So you know, that's how it is. You know, that's how it is. You know, I mean, but then I guess thinking about it, it's not as stigmatized anymore in the Western world. You know,
Yeah.
because yeah, you know, it is unfortunately still stigmatized in second, even not only in third world definitely lah, you know, it's like kill, you know, these people cannot
Yeah.
but in the second world, it is still being, yeah lah, I mean, it is still similar, but then I guess that's how you differentiate first, second, and third world, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but what I've noticed in the third world is like in some of the third world countries, like example, South Africa, even like Iran, where
yeah,
in the law, it's accepted. You know,
yeah,
in our like the South African constitution, it's accepted. In Iran, the people who are trans, they are allowed to transition. They are allowed
yes.
to identify as women. But it's the society that doesn't accept it.
Okay,
You know what I
it's
mean?
very interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know about Iran society. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
no, I know because I have some friends in Iran who are trans.
okay, I
And
mean, but I
it's
know,
accepted. They
yeah,
even the government pays for the operation because it's a
yes,
disorder.
I
It's a
know,
disorder.
I know that, yeah, I know that's a fact, you know. But then I spoke this to one of my gay friends before, you know, but then he pointed out something very interesting. You know, transgenderism is accepted by the authority. They even pay for you to
To
change. You know,
transition, yeah.
yeah, if you like men, then you transition to be a woman.
Right.
You know, then this gay friend of mine pointed out that not everybody who likes men wants to be a woman. You know, I mean, there are, I mean, you know, like men, there are gay men, you know, gay men, they are men who likes men. They don't, neither of them wants to look like a woman.
Yes, they just
You
gay.
know?
this is a sexual preference.
Yeah. So as much, I mean, let's say if we would talk about transgender, so Iran, okay, like good, very good for Iran. But then when it comes to lesbianism,
yeah,
gay,
no, okay, yeah, but that's another subject for
yeah,
another day.
that's another subject,
Yes, because
yeah.
that's, I think we will tackle that one as well. But then we probably have to have a gay person as well in the chat. Yeah, no, that's that's another. Ooh, that's a but just but like even South Africa, transgenderism is totally in our constitution. It's protected, it's allowed, it's like exactly, but it's the society. You know what I mean? It's at that level, at medical level, at educational level, at governmental level, it's all accepted, but it's the actual society.
How recent has this been in South Africa?
2006.
2006, okay.
Yeah, we are the first country in the world to allow rights to the alphabet community. Even before the US, the first, 2006.
Yeah.
But our society just won't accept it. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, so this is why I'm also wanting to make videos like this, because I think why it happens is because people don't understand what it means. And then because in the media at the moment, since the last 5 years, and I think it comes from the US, the portrayal of what transgender really means has also been distorted. And I think that comes to the next question I want to ask. Yes, so this goes into the next question, which is, like back in the day, right? Our era, that's how old we are. There used to be transsexual, which was someone who was already diagnosed with gender dysphoria, who had already undergone the psychological evaluation, and who has already undergone gender reassignment surgery and hormone therapy, right? And then transgender was someone who was still in the process of that transition. They've not done like the psychological they've not done the gender reassignment surgery. They still feeling around it, isn't it? We had that. There was a distinct difference between the two. And I think what is happening today is because they don't have this anymore. So everybody's lumped into the same thing. Even people, you see, like Prince, people are now saying Prince was transgender.
No, that's not right.
No. You know why? Because he wore high heels and bell bottoms and frilly blouses, and he was small size, and he used to wear makeup. It's like, no, but I'm telling you, the Gen X and Gen Z, they think people like Prince, Steven Tyler, David Bowie, some of them even think Michael Jackson are transgender because they wear makeup. You see why I say there's this not enough education going around.
Yeah. I also wonder why they dropped the word transsexual.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
They say it's a derogatory term. But I mean, it's exactly what it is, right? It's exactly what it is. You transition.
Yeah, but I guess that developing from the word, I mean, after dropping the word transsexual, they have developed on the term transgender, because now instead of like just transgender, they have trans woman and trans men. And as far as I understand, trans women would be those who have gone through the
gender reassignment. Yes, that is what it should mean.
And trans men would be. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you see, that is why I say that's also, look, you and I are like on the same wavelength here with that. But it's not, because now you're having people who are just dressed in drag, and then they say they are trans, they belong to the trans community.
Yeah.
They dress in drag, but they have sex with women. Like it's a man, you know, he dresses in drag, he says he's trans, but he's having sex with a woman. And then he says now he's a lesbian. Oh, look,
I know. There was that one couple, right? I mean,
yes, the couple that had a baby. Yeah. They were like first trans man and first trans woman to give birth, And then it was just a man and a woman.
Yeah, I guess that's the whole thing. I mean, like when people complicates the issue, I think, you know.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, there will also be the argument that you cannot put anybody in any boxes.
Yes, but why are they
You
putting
know,
them in your box, example? You know, find a different box. Because I find,
yeah, I mean,
I find in a way it's not disrespectful, but it kind of denies who you are. You know what I mean?
I guess the reason why they would put you would put it into that box because of the word gender. You know, I mean the third gender. You know, so there's like the male, the female, and the transgender. You know, because under, I mean, for example, let's say under male, you know, there will be like effeminate male, but still
Yes.
male. You know, like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking about male who doesn't have any feeling towards male.
Yeah, but it's just a bit effeminate.
Effeminate. So
Yes,
there's
yes.
the male will be like under effeminate male, and of course we have like the female who are just like butch. You know, they are
Yeah.
not lesbian. They're
It's
just like
butch.
you know, yeah, they think like a man.
Yeah, like me.
They work. You know, yeah, like
Yeah,
you.
yeah, like me.
You know? So
Yeah.
so I guess that's why whoever who does not go into the male female, they would put it under transgender.
Trans.
You know? Then
Yeah.
I don't know. Then again, what defines male, female, and transgender? Is it their sexual preferences? Is it their sexual desire towards whoever?
Is it their
You know,
behavior?
because like just now, when if you were to put the, if you were to like you mentioned, there's this man who claims to be transgender but is in love with a woman. You know,
And he doesn't
so
want
I
to
guess
leave.
that would,
Yeah, what is that? Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah,
I
he
mean,
says he's transgender, but he's a lesbian transgender.
yeah, but then I guess at the end of the day, I mean, maybe 90% of the population of the world can be defined. There will be 10% that are just gender fluid, you know, that are just fluid. I mean,
Yeah.
just let them be. Just
Yeah.
let them be, as long as they don't kill, they don't, you know,
As long as they don't
people, let them
interfere.
be. There will always
yeah,
be that.
yeah, there will be those. So they
Yeah,
probably maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, because to me the
yeah.
word trans
You know,
means transition. I don't know.
Yeah, it's trans. I mean, I guess the word trans meaning like it's going to the other, going from one place to the
Yes,
other. It's
yes.
like trans. You know, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I haven't heard of any, but I can just imagine like some non-proficient English speaking person would think that, let's say you have a Trans-Siberian Railway, then they'd be like, oh no, we cannot go on that Trans-Siberian Railway because there'll be all this trans. You don't know.
That's true. That's true.
That'll be quite stupid. It'll be very funny.
But you'll be surprised, like, there'll be people like that. Don't be surprised. You never know with what's going on these days. You never know. There might be those people.
They will have like phobia of the word trans, you know, unfortunately.
Yeah, they won't even want to listen to a radio because it's a transistor.
Transistor.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I want to get to this thing. Because recently, well, now recent it is by now, but I remember at one time you posted something about an experience you had when you went for a medical checkup.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, and I remember you said that you had to disclose your biological sex because you are an educated person, you know, it's important. And
yeah.
But then the response and the reaction that you got from the doctor, who is supposed to be a doctor, like, you know, hello.
Yeah.
So
medical.
Medical, yeah, like hello, yeah. So just please explain what you experienced there.
Okay, so it was very interesting because for me, like I said, I'm a real person. You know, I mean, I don't deny anything about myself. You know, I mean, like if people see me as a woman, and then in fact, if people were to ask me outwardly, are you a man or a woman? I would be like, I'm a trans woman, you know, and then if those people are worthy of my 10 minutes, then I will explain. I was blah 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 blah. Understand now? Yes, understand. Okay, that's it. You know, so I'm a real person. I mean, like, I'm not saying. I mean, what I mean is like, I don't deny or hide or have illusion about who I am.
That's the word,
You know, in
illusion.
fact, there was one time, illusion. Yes, you know, in fact, there was one time when I was at the registrar in Malaysia. You know, so after my surgery and everything, I went there and then I was asking them to reclassify me. You know, and then they say, yeah, I mean, we would love to reclassify you as a female, but you're not, you know. So I said, then what are you going to do about it? And then of course the normal bureaucracy thing, like, oh, we have to meet with this whatever, you know. So okay, never mind. And then at the end of it, I told them, I said, do you know what? Even if you don't want to classify me as female, I know, because I don't want to be classified as female. It is very confusing for people.
Right,
you know, for a lot of things to happen, it'll be very confusing. Why don't you just put me as trans woman?
Yes.
You know, gender, because on the identity card, it says gender, not what you were
Sex.
born.
Yeah, not sex.
You know, it's not sex. No, it's
Yes,
gender
yes. It
now.
always
No?
says gender.
So,
yeah.
So you create a category that says trans woman. So if anything happened, then people know, oh, this is not like, you know, whatever. So okay, that's me lah. You know, I mean, I would gladly tell people. I mean, in fact, even if I were to meet men, I mean, in those days, you know, in those days.
So these days you're not meeting men.
Yeah, you know. So even, I mean, I'm upfront. You know, I tell them honestly. You know, I don't have to hide. I don't have to pretend. You know, whatever. Okay, so recently, I got this I had to go for this medical checkup, you know, and then of course I didn't think of it so much of it until I read that they have 2 packages for the checkup, because like I've never been to medical checkup before, so I didn't know what it would entail to, you know. So then when I look at the list, you know, they have like the male package where they do all this what do you call that, scan and blood test and bone density,
scan,
you know, and the ultrasound and whatever, you know, and the ultrasound will focus on whatever that you have in inside your body, you know.
Right.
And then of course for the female package, they have mammogram and pap smear,
yeah.
You know, those kind of thing. And then I look at it, I'm like, if I were to pretend that I'm female, I mean, this mammogram and this pap smear will not do me any good.
No, they'll probably think there's something very wrong with you. You'll probably be rushed off to the ICU and whatever. It's like,
because like, oh my God, you are like totally, you don't have any of those, you know. And then you have like foreign matter in your chest that could be cancerous or whatever, you know, after the mammogram, you know. So I was like, logically, I think I should take the male package, because internally, you know, that applies to me even more, especially health wise, you know. So, and of course, me being the person that never shies away from the truth, because I don't like to bring this illusion. I told the staff there, I said I would like to do the male package. And then they were like, why? You know, I'm like, well, because, you know, it was like outwardly, like as a matter of fact, I'm transgender. I was born male, so internally, you know. Then they were like, oh, okay. I mean, they were like taken aback, but
and I guess it's in your situation, it's a case of, oh, I'm so flattered, but because you are so female that they didn't even know, so it's kind of like a
you know, they didn't even like put 2 and 2 together until I mentioned it, you know. And then of course there were 1 or 2 of them just like having that like kind of have this kind of like look at me like, okay, Okay, I mean, I don't blame them, I mean,
Yucca.
like I don't blame, like, oh, really, yucca, yucca, but I don't
Yucca.
blame them because
Right, right.
as far as I know, I think, I mean, and also that is one of the reasons why a lot of transgender that I understand don't go for medical checkup because if they were to have gone to another place, luckily for me, I was there
Mhm.
uh, at this place, and it was like a package I got from my work. It was like so I didn't go like walk in or whatever. So I went there with some kind of credentials,
Right,
you
right.
know, because I got this package, this medical checkup package from my work, So I went there with some credentials. So and that place is also the kind of like, I mean, like, not the. So after I got it settled with the staff, and then the first doctor and the second doctor and the radiologist and whatever. So the final segment, the section was session was this what do you call it? Ultrasound.
Okay.
So the moment I came in, the doctor was looking at the documents, and then she asked me, "Why are you doing the ultrasound for prostate?" And I was like, "Yeah, because I am biologically a man, female. I mean male." I said,
Mm-mm.
biologically male." And then she was like, "What?" I mean, like, I mean, uh, well, the to make it simpler, the story is she was just like kind of like taken aback. She was. I mean, I guess she didn't like really read the whole thing, whatever. I mean, or maybe I was the first person, first transgender person that she has encountered. But it's very funny. Uh, so so uh, so she was like kind of like taken aback and uh, uh, kind of perplexed. But
Mm-mm.
then it was I didn't feel bad because she was still doing what she was supposed to do. I mean, like doing the ultrasound, everything. So the question was like fine because like I thought I already answered the
Mm-mm.
the I already answered her queries. But then as she was doing it, she asked few more questions, which was like I vividly remember. She said, "So you have gone for your reassignment?" I'm like, "Yes, I have." Okay. She said, and then I thought that was it. Quiet. And then another question came up. She was like, "Does your parents know?" And I was
Uh.
like, "What?" I'm like, "What?" Uh, yeah, they do. Oh, okay. And then I thought that was it. Then another question. So do they accept you? And I was like,
Mm-mm.
yeah, and then okay. So blah 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 blah. Silence, and then the ultrasound was finished lah. Of course, I mean, I'm not like I said again, I'm not a confrontational person. I didn't like bother to ask her why you asked me and things like that whatsoever. I mean, I just like give it give her the benefit of the doubt that maybe it was for her own curiosity, or she has never met people like me before, that it
Mm.
was she took the chance to ask.
Right, right.
But then, like I said, the first few questions was fine because it was kind of medical. But the last two questions was rather personal, and I guess it was based on her being who she was, who is like a Malay Muslim doctor.
Mm-mm.
Because from the way she was dressed up, I mean, from the way she dressed with her headscarf and whatever. So she just had to ask that question, I think. Even though it's not medically related, she just had because of her religious background, I
Mm-mm.
think. So that thing kind of like made me feel quite perplexed lah, because like it's a mixture for her. It was a mixture of both, because like usually I would think that professionally you do not mix your medical mentality, your medicinal mentality with your religious conviction.
Right.
I mean, right? Because there are the other few doctors or the people that the one that I saw earlier before her, they were very professional, like they knew, and they were like, okay, no problem whatsoever. But this particular one had to put in her religious beliefs in her work,
in your examination.
Yeah, which was, I mean, like I said again, luckily she met me, who is confrontational, confrontational.
Yeah.
Confrontational. I mean, I can imagine if it was another person, I don't know what would happen. So, but then on the other hand, she was not like a very, she doesn't have a nice personality to begin with.
Okay,
yeah, because the other friends, the other colleagues that went with me didn't like her at all, because they said she was rude, she was rough, she was unprofessional, so and of course I told them later, but then in my I was like, oh, at least you never, at least you were not asked the $1 million question, But it was like, it was quite I guess it now, looking back, it is an anecdote for my life,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't take it personally whatsoever. And the best thing is I went for the same checkup again recently, because we have to do it every year,
Okay.
and voila, she was not there anymore. I don't know what happened. So we had another doctor this time around. I mean, I'm not being racist or whatsoever, but this time around it was an Indian lady doctor. She was like, hello, how are you today?
She was just doing her job.
It was and then she was like her personality was totally different from the previous year's doctor, and everyone, including my colleagues, were like, oh, thank God that good doctor was not around anymore. And so and then some of them even say that probably people what do you call that, probably people complained about her, and she got taken away from her work or whatever. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm quite glad that we got another doctor who was more pleasant and friendly.
Right.
So so that's what happened.
Okay. What does your name Dara mean? Just a quick one.
Yeah, it's a Malay word, and it means virgin.
Okay.
By name,
you say so.
By name, not by nature.
Not by nature.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my tagline. I used to do my MC.
Yeah, that's right. By
name,
not by nature. But I remember one very profound statement you made once when you were at Boom Boom Room in the dressing room. Because remember how the police always used to come there just to make sure that in the show that we are appropriately cladded. Like there's no breasts hanging out, etc., nudity. And then you were saying, in actual fact, since that time, your ID was still saying male. You said, well, in that case, I should be able to go topless on stage because I'm a man,
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me. And I was like, what? You are right. You were so right, because you said, because that time they didn't want to change your ID. And you said, well, if they want to insist I'm a man, then I should be able to walk around bare-chested like any other man. Yeah.
Showing my boobs,
Yes, because, right? If they want to change your ID, then you might as well. Okay, so the next thing I want to discuss is, the question is, because this I've been noticing is like happening everywhere. Okay, do you think trans is being hijacked by some biological men who want to take advantage of women like example, in women's spaces and in women's rights, like, you know, with the bathroom situation in spas, like bathroom when they, like I say, they are zamri, but they are in a drag, but because they feel they're in drag, they want to go into women's bathrooms. Or it's like a man like my husband, but he pretends to be a woman. He puts on a dress and then he goes and flashes his penis in the spa. Or like in sports where you find a lot of them that, I mean, they're bigger than my husband. Okay. And then in prison now, where a lot of sex convicts, they go in as men and then they decide they are now trans. They don't do any surgery, no, nothing. They just say, I am now a woman. And then they get put into female prisons. And then while they're in those prisons, they rape and molest the women. And also beauty pageants. So the last one, the beauty pageants, is a bit, but we'll discuss that one further. But just in general, what do you think about that?
Okay, I think it is we have to look at situation but one by one, you know, for example,
case by case.
Okay. Yeah, case by case. Okay, if the man dresses up as a woman, you know, and then because he wants to take advantage of the fact that he can declare himself transgender and then get his kicks off going to women's bathroom and looking at women's and things like that, you know. So I guess that one has got nothing to do with gender or identity. That one is perversion, is a crime.
Right.
Correct.
Yes,
I mean, luckily in Malaysia, I haven't heard of any cases as such, you know, and of course, conservative people have came up with that idea that, oh, then if that's the case, then men can impersonate women and then they will go into women's toilet and hide in the bathroom and then suddenly rape the woman whatsoever, you know. But then the kind of people that says things like that are the kind of people that would, I mean, you know, that kind of people lah, you know, like
I understand. They conflate.
You know? Yeah, you know, but then logically and the fact that I know, transgender, if they're really transgender, you know, they don't just dress up for one day or for 1 week or one
occasion
or whatever, you know. Yeah, one occasion, you know, even if they have not done the surgery, they would have lived as a woman for a longer period because they have already identified themselves as a woman. They would have long hair. They would probably have like hormone breasts, you know. Their mannerism is different, you know. So, and this kind of this group of transgender, even if they do still have the penis, you know, it would probably be the last thing that they would think of to use. And of all people, on women.
Exactly.
You know, because you know, because they don't, because they are in the toilet not for sexual pleasure. It is for the human condition of relieving themselves, you know. So, and women, if you have transgender woman like that in the toilet, I don't think you should be worried about. You know, you should be like freaking out. You know, I mean, looking at the situation also. Let's say, I mean, this is the hypocrisy of this kind of women. You know, I mean, unfortunately, I have to say that the hypocrisy, this kind of mentality, comes from the Malay women. You know, because I mean, I have never heard. Actually, I mean, from my own experience or from my own ear, I've never heard even Malay women freaking out, lah. You know, I mean,
but this that I'm talking about is mainly, it's not happening in our region. It's happening in the US and in the UK.
Okay.
Where
so
I know in our area, a trans woman is like a woman. It's just like me. We don't have the type that are men being perverts. No, I don't know of that, but
mm.
it seems to be very rampant in the US, where there's men that are just perverts. They're the one in the US, he was in the spa and he just flashed out his penis and was showing it
So,
around.
so I guess if that's the case, I mean, then it should not be defined, or the authority should not define it as the perils of declaring the transgender
Yes,
word, because that is not related
that's
at
just a
all, you
criminal.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people are just criminals, because if let's say somebody, I mean to the extent, if somebody say, okay, you can dress up as a sheep and then you can go and do it with the sheep, this kind of people would
Yeah.
do it.
Yes,
You know what
yes,
I mean?
yes, yes.
So that means, what I'm trying to say is, this kind of issues, this kind of problem is not really the downside of declaring this gender called transgender. It's not, it's not, because this kind of issue, this issue is criminal already. It's perversion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah. And then I think the last part you were asking is about transgender men or trans women, okay, who would take part in women's sports and beauty
And beauty
pageant.
pageants, yeah, those are the two.
Yeah. Okay. You see, there was one article where this one man who has transitioned and then got into this transgender, got into women's sports, and then she won, and a lot of the comment was saying that of course she would win because she was basically a woman, a man.
A
She
man,
has
yeah, yeah.
the strength of a man and things like that, But of course, that is just hearsay to me. I think I think those are just hearsay and conservative opinion, because at the end of the article, they did say that after stringent tests on her hormones, and whatever, it was scientifically found that legally she is a woman due to her level of hormone, like that
Yeah,
means
the
like no
testosterone
more
levels.
no more testosterone, because as you know, when you do reassignment, they do remove that
Yes,
sac
yes.
that produces your testosterone. So after, like, I don't know, many years, there's no more traces of testosterone. So even if he was a man before, now physically or hormone wise,
Hormonally,
he
yeah.
is not, hormonally he's not a man anymore, because there's no testosterone in him,
Right.
which is quite interesting, because I mean it relates to me very well too, in fact, because reassignment men has no more testosterone, uh, they don't produce female hormone either, so which means that hormonally they are even inferior than women.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because like women can still produce their own hormone, and like it or not, from the reproduction of that woman's hormone, that's how women also get their strength.
right,
Right.
right.
Unlike this transgender trans woman, there's no testosterone anymore, and then there's no hormone naturally produced, female hormone naturally produced by him. So he has to like take take orally or hormone jabs, female hormone jabs, to be able to have some hormones in her body,
Right.
So I guess that one for me, if she has been certified to be to not be a man, not necessarily certified to be a woman hormonally, I think that should be accepted lah, regardless whether he is bigger or whatever.
Right.
Because once you have the male hormone, your bicep and your energy can only go to a certain level. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, yeah. And
Okay,
then,
so let
again,
me,
of course,
I just want to push back on that a bit because, yeah, hormones play a part. But I think if I remember what they were saying is the way they measure the testosterone is it must fall within that certain level, right? But
yeah.
even the level that they set for the transgender person is very high compared to women, because even women's testosterone, I don't know what, let's just say example is 15. They say it has to be 15, whatever. A woman's is
What?
only 10. I'm just giving an example of figures. So what is happening is a natural woman will only go to 10, but the transgendered person will still go to 15, so it's still higher. So that's something like that. Then the other thing is that what they're fighting about now is because bone density and muscle mass, because that doesn't change in male to female. That is why you see the MMA fighters, the male, the transgender MMA fighters, they are really dominating because they dominating in the women's sports, in the women MMA categories.
Yeah, but then bone density is part of one of the checkup that I would have or I had, you know, and because I don't have that male hormone anymore, my bone is not as strong as my colleague who still have testosterone.
Yes, but it could still be more. But it would still be more than a woman.
Could be more, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so that's where the thing is, yeah.
So that's why I mean, like, I guess I mean, if the medical people
boards, yeah,
can have certified that bone density wise,
and muscle, yeah, because at the moment they just yeah, they have to. I think it's because they don't really have a proper way of defining, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think they are on track to dispel any doubts,
right?
You know, which is good, you know. So I mean, for me, if medically that person, even though he was a man before, but medically, hormonally, you know, in terms of his bone density and all, doesn't mark him as male anymore, then I think it should be fine.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Because,
yeah, because muscles and everything, both sexes can
increase
develop
or decrease. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the strength, you know. So I think I'm okay. And then for the beauty pageant,
right?
For the beauty pageant,
okay, just to tell you, I'm sure here we're gonna be different. But Evan, go on.
I don't know. I mean, for me, beauty pageant, all this while, okay, again, it's back to my non-confrontational, I don't want controversy
right.
like,
yeah.
You know, I think, you know, all this while there's always been an alternative pageant for transgender, you know. So probably with that kind of like old school thoughts, you know, why would a transgender woman wants to take part in a woman's beauty pageant?
Okay.
You know, but then on the other hand, you know, it is not the desire to take part. It is actually the recognition, you know, because if you have already, you know, okay, let's say your hormone level is woman, bone density is woman, between your crotch is also woman, you know, and then okay, probably people will say, oh, because they have she has enhanced breasts or whatever, but then that one even like you, is a fact that some countries beauty queens that has won have also done beauty augmentation before, you know. So you cannot fault that transgender for having fake breasts, you know. So I think that one, I mean, I still haven't made up my mind whether I
Okay.
am for it or not. For me, I think it is the basic notion is that it is actually for recognition. I mean, like 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 how else can you be recognized as a woman if not by this ultimate event
Right.
where where you're like the ultimate image of a woman,
Yeah.
and then if there are women who feel upset about it, then I think it's a bit more on a personal basis lah, because as we know, for me the beauty pageant is actually just an image. It's all about the image of what a woman be,
Right.
so it doesn't really matter who projects that image, whether it's a woman or a trans woman,
Okay.
because it's just an image, an idolized kind of like image that how a woman should be.
Should look. Okay. Yeah. I see your
Or
point.
how that gender should be, not gender, how that gender should be,
Right.
Uh,
The physical.
so I think, yeah, it is very physical, I mean, of course, they add on the
that add-ons we know is just rubbish.
question and answer.
Yeah, but we know that doesn't matter.
It's just like, we know it's just like, we know the fact that they just want to see the beauty, which is not wrong.
Yeah, it's not wrong because that's why it's a beauty pageant. If it was an intellectual pageant, then I could also participate, but it's not. It's height and okay. So, but for me, it's like this. I am for and against it. I am against it because I would say, like you said before, trans women already have their platform for their beauty pageants. And so leave the women to have their little thing. The other thing is why I'm against it is because the beauty pageant for the women's beauty pageant has always been about natural beauty. That's why, like the Miss Universe, she cannot have had surgery. If they had, it has to be very minor. They can't even have breast implants. It's not allowed. If they have to be natural, it has to be natural beauty. You can't wear a wig. The most you can wear is what is this thing? Makeup. And like maybe like some foundation to cover up scars and all that. But it's normally about natural beauty. So obviously, if it's natural beauty, you cannot include a trans woman because, like you said, everything is enhanced or it's not natural. It's
natural.
It's a situation between born that way and trans
and made that way.
Made that, you see, so it has to be born that way. So that's why I would be against it. And also why I would be against it is because if they start doing that, like just outright, then what is going to stop women from wanting to go into transgender pageants? And you see, when women start going into transgender pageants, they will win. They will slay there because the natural beauty is already there. You know what I mean? And if you take that natural beauty and you enhance that natural beauty, it's even going to be better than what you know what I mean? Because they starting already from like a almost perfect canvas. You know what I'm saying? So in both cases, they both losing. They will both be losing. Transgender women will be losing. And look at the one in Thailand. Their transgender pageant. The first line will say, "This pageant is only open for people who were born male." So that excludes us. Like women. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that's why I'm for and against it, because I think it's just going to cause. Actually, I think the transgender people will lose out more, because once the women start going into the transgender pageants, they're going to dominate. That's for sure. They're going to dominate because, they'll have softer voices, because everything that is.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, like when you talk.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, for this, why would a woman want to take part in the transgender
Oh, they would.
pageant,
They
because
would.
let's say at the level of recognition.
They
No,
would.
I mean,
They would. Like
out
example,
of
I would.
spite.
Example, I would, because I could never take part. Okay, the network is lower, but I'll talk, because I could never be able to participate in a beauty pageant. Let's say when I was younger, because of my height, but I would be able to in a transgender pageant because the restrictions are not that strict.
I see. Okay.
So I would definitely.
Okay, so but then that will be before, but at this moment,
No, because I'm
okay,
too
let's
old.
say yeah, let's say we try to find a win situation for this.
Okay.
You know? Okay. For me, I think the win-win situation would be elevate and make it worldwide recognized for the transgender pageant, so that it will be at par with the women's pageant.
Pageants, yes.
So that transgender would just focus that I want to take part in this one, not mess up, not try to go into this one,
exactly.
because that's how I think it is when we have one is Miss World and then one is Miss Universe. It's like, what's the difference? Both are
in the universe.
Beauty pageant for women. So but then after a while, if I'm not mistaken, when World was first, and then it was their own, and they said they want to do Miss Universe, so it was like second rated, But I think that would be the win-win situation,
it's to elevate the transgender beauty pageant.
Let's say if I was a woman, I'd be like, why? Then I'll be like smiling, like, it's okay with me, but deep down, I'll be like, no, it's not right.
Yes,
you know what I mean? But as far as the same goes for transgender too, because oh my god, I'm like a sheep in a wolf's lair. I don't belong here. I don't really belong here. Why do I want to be here? Just to make a statement for what? What kind of statement am I making?
And I think it's unhealthy. Yeah, I think it's unhealthy for both parties.
Yeah, it may be you can hear.
Yeah.
I think they want to eat.
Okay.
So like basically that's what it is. Like, let's not create rifts unnecessarily.
Exactly.
I mean those people who are promoting it would think that, oh, it's such a sensation, it will create a media stir, and it will bring more advertisement and whatever, but normal like this capitalist world, they will just use people for their own sake. So by taking like a transgender, put it in the normal
women's space
beauty pageant, you don't know what that transgender is going through. You don't know how that transgender is feeling, but then again, it's like, oh, sensation. Yeah, we're gonna get 100% more sponsorship because of the sensation. Those kind of things. So I'm like, no, you are hurting not only transgender, you're also hurting the feelings of the women. Which is not
and then
right.
They are causing the rift between trans women and women. You know what I mean? Instead of us, they're causing the rift.
Yes, exactly.
Because instead of us being sisters, now they're making us enemies.
Yeah, exactly. So normal capitalist.
Yes. Okay, we have two more questions. So this one, how important is it for a trans person to disclose that they are, example, trans woman and not just woman? When it comes to legal documents, you did touch on it a little bit earlier. Legal documents such as visa, medical things, especially in a crime, you know what I mean, right? You, instead of just writing, a woman killed a man, it has to be, or we're looking for a woman who killed a man, it should be, we're looking for a trans woman.
A trans woman.
Or if you're applying for a visa, to be, do you think it's important or not really?
It is to me important. I mean,
Okay.
that's why early on I said, I even told the registrar people, then if you cannot decide whether, if you insist that I'm a man, but I don't want to be called a man because I'm not, and you don't know whether you should put me as a woman, a female, then put me as trans woman. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
what I am, that's who I am.
right.
You
You don't
know,
feel upset if people,
like
if
again,
you cannot say woman.
it is important. It is important.
Okay.
See, I'm very proud to if people call me a trans woman because that's who I am. You know, that's who I am. I'm not trying to lie to myself. I'm not trying to deceive the public because I'm a trans woman. You know, so if the authority eventually say, okay, now trans woman can be identified as the third gender, you
Right.
know, and then of course the fourth gender will be trans men or whatever, like, you know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that would be the best because then we don't have to lie. We don't have to lie. I mean, you don't go far with lying. You don't go far with illusions. You don't go far with with denial. You know,
Right.
denial. So if people were to say, "Oh, you're a trans woman," or at least I open the passport and say trans woman, I'll be like, "Yes, that's what I am."
Yeah.
You know, that's what I am.
Yes.
You know, and then of course, if anything were to happen, then it'd be easier for them to process too. You know, for example, you know, like medically, you know, medically, then there won't be any. I mean, at least if anything were to happen, then they know what to do with this trans woman. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
for internal. You know what I mean?
Right,
But then
right.
of course, if going to prison, for example, you know, if let's say she made a mistake, I mean she did a crime or whatever, then prison wise, because prison is again is a social thing, then her gender takes precedence. That means she will
Yes.
be put in a women's jail.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, especially if she doesn't already have the penis anymore.
Yes, yes.
What risk would it be for the women there, because she won't be able to do anything, you know, she
Yeah.
won't even,
But I think,
you know, I mean, there's nothing to worry.
even in some cases, because I know a few trans women who still have their penis, but they express completely as female. And like in their case,
Yeah,
I think if they had to go to prison, they should still be put with the women. I think it should go case by
yes,
case. It should not just be
yes.
one size fits all. They have to look at each individual as an individual, and then they must make the decision.
You see, yeah, you see, that's the thing. A lot of advocates have been trying to advocate to people, you know, you know, about this. You know, the difference between sex, male,
Mhm,
female, and
mhm,
gender. You
mhm.
know, so the saying that they always say is that uh, what you have between your leg doesn't define your gender. It defines your
Your
sex, but
sex, yes,
it doesn't define your gender.
right.
You know, yeah. You know, so that's why if we have a transgender who still have the penis, but then has already identified as a
Trans woman,
trans
as a
woman,
woman,
as a
yeah.
woman, you know, then socially that's a woman lah.
Yes, yes.
You know, but then of course, a lot of like non-progressive country will still have problem with I mean, computing that. Recently, I saw the movie. Uh, it's a French case. You know, it's like
Mm-mm.
I cannot.
Okay, wait. So you,
I saw the movie. It was like, I mean, the character was having very difficult time to correspond the two things, like sad face means happy, happy face means sad, you know. So that kind of like analogy applies to the authority, I think. But then on the other hand, there are a lot of literature, a lot of research, and everything medical or whatever social research has been done. The authority who still doesn't want to accept the the corresponding gender and sex
mm-mm.
are just being stubborn.
Right,
You
right.
know, they are just being egoistic. You know, because as you know, a lot of authorities are
Yeah,
male,
yeah.
the ego is like 10 times more than the other counterpart, so it's just ego, stubbornness. It's like, no, we will not, even though we have science have proven it,
to back it up.
medical
Yes.
has proven it, it's more ego, so I think that's the thing that we have to fight, the ego. How do you fight ego?
Okay, but now, like in the Western countries, they're having the opposite problem. They're having the issue now where of course, this woke culture, where the authorities and society are now trying to be so encompassing of everybody, that that now you'll have the sexual predator who knows he's a man. We all know he's a man, but now he decides he's a woman. And because now he decides he's a woman, the authority and the society now insists that he is a woman, although common sense would dictate, no, he's not. He is a man taking advantage of a situation. You see how how it's in our side of the world, we're having this issue, and on that side of the world, they're having the complete opposite issue, where men are taking advantage of this.
See, again, then it's back to what we said earlier. It's case to case basis. You cannot, you cannot define that as the perils of of acknowledging transgenderism. It's not. That has got nothing to do with transgenderism or the defined definition of transgender. That is the definition of a criminal taking advantage of the situation.
Yes. And if you, Dara, as a trans woman, have to say this to some of the people I talk to, they will say you are transphobic.
Yeah, then I would love to talk to them.
That is where we are now. That is where we are now. If you had to say something like that, they would say, oh, she's transphobic. And then it's like, but she's trans. How can she be transphobic? Well, she is. And this, okay, so let's go to the next one. I'll send you some videos of one trans woman I follow, who everyone says is transphobic. And I mean, she's trans, but anyway. Okay, so the last question, or the last thing, JK Rowling, you know her, right? The Harry Potter.
JK Rowling, yeah.
Yeah, so she tweeted this. I can't remember what the backstory is, but I mean, just looking at what she said, I'm going to take it one by one, and you just say agree or don't agree. She says, dress however you please. Agree or not agree. This is for anybody.
Okay, let me just check. I think it's in your
but let's just go, just as the English is written there, dress however you please. Now, I would say that's true. Dress however you please. I think
dress however you please. Yes, I think that I agree.
Right? Let's take it sentence by sentence. Or line by line. I think that's positive, right? There's nothing negative about that. Call yourself whatever you like. I also think that's positive.
Yes.
Right? Sleep with any consenting adult who will have you. So for me, I'm married, so it's a bit no, even if consent, I cannot because I'm married, or if he's married, but it's a positive thing. Right?
I mean, maybe this would be targeted to those who are not married yet.
Yes, Let's say, okay, not married. Yeah, if you're not married, sleep with whoever you want, if it's a consenting adult, right? Because we don't want you to be sleeping with children. Right. Live your best life in peace and security. Yes, I'm all for that.
Yes.
Then, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real. So I'm a woman. If I say, yes, gender, there is a spectrum, because like we mentioned before, but sex, female and male, is an actual fact. It's real. And then I have to get fired for that. So she says this is wrong. Now I agree with her that it is wrong to fire someone for saying that sex is real.
Sex meaning gender. I mean
not gender, sex, the biological sex, male, female.
But force women out of their job for stating that sex is real.
Yeah, like me standing there and saying there is such a thing as biological male and biological female. If I stand up in front of my class, in my biology class, and I say that.
That's wrong, because if she said that, then she's confusing sex and the word gender.
I mean, what do you mean is wrong? It's wrong
But
to
then on the
fire
other
her.
hand, but then
It's wrong to fire, let's say me, it's me now. I'm the one who is the woman that's getting forced out of the job because in front of my class, my students, I'm telling them in biology, there's a biological male and a biological female, because that's what sex is. Gender is another story because there's woman, man. So is it wrong to fire me for saying that, or is it wrong, or am I wrong for saying it? Yeah.
It is wrong for you to be fired because it's a fact.
It's a fact.
The fact that when it comes to sex, there's only male and female.
Right.
Because
gender is another story. Yes.
Yeah, gender is another story. You know, because for me, I mean, let's say if I'm going for a procedure, a medical procedure, you know, I think the medical profession will still define me as male, because then they would know
what treatment to give you.
What treatment to give, and then what let's say, I don't know, amount of oxygen, male capacity, lung capacity is different than female lung capacity. You know, how much anesthetic to give, because you know, like these are all the medical things that have to be referred to if when it comes to the sex. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And also, let's say, if I'm gender a woman, but sex male, then I am prone to male cancer disease like prostate.
Yeah, because exactly. You're not going to get cervical cancer.
Yeah. So at the end of it, when it comes to sex, then I'm still male.
Right.
But then that is only applicable if I'm going for medical.
Yes, or if it's educational, like let's say I'm teaching biology, because it's biology. I'm not teaching gender studies or society,
not sociology.
Yeah, social. Yeah, I'm teaching biology, and your doctor is practicing medicine. Yeah, okay. But you know that the trans community are so anti JK Rowling for saying these things. I don't know if you know that they were trying to cancel her.
I think I heard that.
They hate her. A turf.
They call her homophobe, transphobe.
Yeah, but I mean, what is wrong with her saying? Yeah, no, but I want to.
So probably.
Sorry. Yeah.
So probably for me, I mean, in that situation, she should have been smart enough not to even make that statement.
Yeah, but I think it's because she was standing up for her friend who I think was teaching biology or something, and say, and you know, this is what she was, or whatever, but I mean, but still, in any context, when it comes to the sex, this is always going to be real. Even if we were in a disco and we are just drinking and talking, and someone had to say to me, are you a lady boy, which they always do. They ask me if I'm a lady boy. Now, normally I say I can be whatever you want me to be, because you know I'm gender situational. But even if I say I can be whatever you want me to be, I will still say, but I am a biological female, because that is what I am, and I would still say my sexual preference is heterosexual. You know, because that is everything that I am.
Yeah, you know, I mean, everything that you are socially.
Yes, socially, you know, yes, but even medically, because I did say I'm biological female, so that's medically, and then I said my sexual preference is heterosexual.
Yeah,
which
so probably probably you know what the authorities should do now. The authorities should have on the identification card, you know, socially women. Educationally male, medically male.
Yeah, I think that you see, we are finding solutions here, Dara. We are finding solutions. I think
I mean,
Yeah, I
Because
think
there's
that,
nothing
look
to
at your
be
cat.
there's
Your
nothing to
cat
be
was up
ashamed
there.
of.
I see your
I
kitty.
know. That's Dana. You
Hi,
know,
Dana.
there's nothing to hide. There's nothing to be disillusioned about. There's nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, if
Yes,
there are three, if there are the three things, so like yours will be socially
gender situational.
situational.
Whatever you want me to be, I'll
Yeah,
be that.
yeah, and then educationally female, and then the other ones will be female, or like a normal person will be like, all will be like men, male, male, female,
Some will just be male, male,
woman,
male.
yeah, woman, female, male. I
Mm-mm.
mean, yeah, why want to just simplify things and make it difficult to interpret,
And also
right
make
or
it
not?
difficult and make things then suddenly become hurtful and untruthful. Because
Yeah,
also in this way, it's just facts. Because
yeah,
I
it's a
remember
fact.
you remember my friend Benjamin? Now,
Yes.
that group, they used to tease me because they used to say I'm a 23-year-old gay man masquerading as a woman.
Yeah. I mean, but then
So
on the other hand,
yeah, but
hand,
I'm still a
men can
female.
be.
Yeah, genetically, biologically, I'm still a woman. It doesn't matter what people
Uh,
think I am or what I myself express
yeah.
myself as, So yeah, I think that would just cause all the stupid things to end. Okay, Miss Dara.
Okay.
It was
So
so nice talking to you.
what?
It's so nice to talk
Yes.
to educated people. Oh, thank you, God.
I mean, I'm just giving my honest point of view. I mean, there's nothing. There's no hidden subtext or whatever.
Yeah, it
It's
just
just
is.
just be honest. Yeah, just be honest with yourself. Because if you don't be honest with yourself, it's very difficult for people to see you honestly.
Mm-mm-mm.
Right?
Right, that's fair. Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Okay, so again, thank you so much, Dara from Kuala Lumpur, my good friend.
Thank you so much.
Have a good
Celeste.
day and peace out. And please say goodbye to my audience.
Yes, and I love the name Swahili, and I would love to eventually maybe, I don't know, visit
You
there,
want to learn
whatever. I
that
mean,
language.
even go to South Africa. I have been looking at videos, and I've been reading about South Africa and how beautiful it is.
Okay, so thank you, Dara, and everything of the best to you. And please, everybody, leave your comments below. Thank you. Bye-bye.